Well, good day, everybody. Glad you can join me today. This video here will be doing sweet bread and butter pickles. So right now I have enough for over 10 batches. So that's going to be about 52 to 55 jars. And each jar will be the 500 milliliters. So I got all my jars here. Everything's laid out. I got a lot more than I need, but I still got a lot of cucumbers and tomatoes and everything in the garden to process. So anyways, thanks for coming by, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So let's make some pickles. All right, so started slicing the onions. What you see in front of you right now is probably about 9 pounds. And basically, we just got to make sure that it's nice and thin. And we're going to do probably 20 pounds of red onions. And then once they're all cut, and what we do is we make sure they're all apart. And then I'm going to start slicing my cucumbers. So for now, that's what we're doing so far. Slice and dice. All right, so while I'm cutting the onions and cutting all the cucumbers and all that, also sterilizing the bottles. So these ones here are not the wide mouth. I prefer the wide mouth jars, but we did have some without the wide mouth. So here, let me take that light off. So anyways, yeah, I prefer the wide mouth. Now these here are the wide mouth. You can see the difference. It's got to be over 3 inches across anyways, if not more. All right, so we got 52 jars, lids, and everything ready. Everything's been sterile, cleaned. Now we're going to get our brine and everything ready. Then we're going to continue with our chopping and everything. And we're going to proceed in making the pickles. See you in a bit. So I'm going to give my fingers about a 10-minute break and on to the cucumbers. When the cucumbers are done, I'll get back to you. All right, so I'm starting to process all the cucumbers now. And you guys have to get yourself a mandolin, but you guys better be very careful. She's very sharp. It don't take much to lose focus and cut yourself pretty bad. So it's just a start. I've only done a couple, and I still got all the rest to do. Also, if you're going to use the mandolin, like this is my wife's pair because it's nice and small, and this is my pair that I got on. That's extra large. You know what? It works. I've been using it for quite a while. The wife's been using hers for quite a while. We don't work with the mandolin without having our safety gloves on. One slip and you could be in trouble. It's better to be safe than sorry later. Got these off of Amazon. And I got a whole bunch of pairs in there. So yeah, don't forget, safety first. All right, so now I'm just going to continue on slicing and dicing. I went and checked. They're a level 5 cut resistance. And you know what? It stops it. It's grippy, but it'll stop you from obtaining a very serious injury. One little slip and it won't take much, and you'll be in for some stitches. But one little slip with your gloves on like this, it'll save you. Like, I'm not talking full force, but there, I'm pushing it into the blades. These will save you. So whenever you're using a mandolin, safety first. Get yourself a level 5 cut resistant glove. Alright, well, I got one bowl already cut. I still got more left, so I'll get right back to you. Alright, so there's the onions so far measured out. We're going to have 10 batches. So each one of these containers has exactly 8 cups of sweet onions. We're going to add 20 cups of cucumbers, and then all our spices. And we should get between 50 and 55 jars. So I'll get back to you once we measure out the cucumbers. Okay, so our table's full right now. So we got 9 batches on the table, and then I got one behind me on the counter. But each one of these bowls is exactly 5 pounds of cucumbers. So in all, I had 50 pounds of cucumbers. So that's pretty cool. It's going to make some good sweet pickles, that's for sure. Okay, now it's time to salt them, draw out some moisture, and we'll continue on. And then after that, it'll be the vinegar and the solution and all the spices. Once you got all your cucumbers all set up and you're starting the process, put about 1/3 of a cup of salt in your cucumber mix, and it'll draw out a lot of water. And once you do that, then we'll start making our pickles. You can see all the water. And then this one here. So we've done 3 batches to start with. And then once we start to process these 3 batches, then I'll salt 3 more. All right, so I'm ready to put the batches together. And what we use is a non-reactive pot. The one that I have is enamel lined. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in 3 cups of vinegar. All right. Now for the spices, so in here we got 1 cup of sugar, and the spices from that pouch over there, plus the extra ingredients on the back that it tells you to put in. So that's in there. Also, here I have an additional 4 cups of sugar. So we'll put that in here. Okay, turn the stove on. Now what I got to do now is bring that to a boil. Mix it real good. We'll put in the rest of the ingredients. And my lids. Get my lids ready. Oh, and once the jars are full and we got them all lined up, then what we're going to do is give them a hot water bath, and each batch for about 10 minutes. All right, so when that becomes ready, I'll get back to you. Okay, so our mixture came to a boil. So now it's time to add in the onions and the cucumbers. All right. So now all I got to do is mix her up real good. and let everything come to a boil. And once everything comes to a boil again, we'll jar it up. Yeah, just mix it real good. Okay, we'll let it do what it's got to do. Now all I got to do now is mix it real good and bring it to a boil. Let it boil for a few minutes, and then it's ready to put into the jars. But in the meantime, I got my lids. They're going to start boiling pretty soon. I usually let them boil 3 to 5 minutes, and basically it just softens the seal so that when you jar everything up, it's going to seat properly. So right now, for this, as far as the spices go, this is what I'm using right here. Here, let me see if it focuses in. Okay, that's the spices. Pretty easy recipe, but I'll tell you, lots of work. Lots of prep work. The last time we made pickles, we made 85 jars, and right now this one we're only going to be making 50 to 53 jars. So still a lot of work though. It's an all-day event. So anyways, I'll get back to you once it's starting to boil and we're ready to jar everything up. Okay, so now it's boiling. So I turned off the heat. Now it's time to fill the jars. So use a slotted spoon. Also, I don't know why, but we always follow this recipe to a T, and then we add up our own spices and whatnot, like we're supposed to. But once we're done, we have a lot of brine, a lot of leftover brine. So you can either make some pickled eggs, or you can just dump her down the drain. Anyways, I got a bunch of jars to fill, so I'll get right back to you. Alright, so now that you filled it up, then what you got to do is use your ladle and just put enough juice in the jar until you're about 1/2 inch from the top. So as you can see, when I pull that out, the juice is about 1/2 inch from the top. Okay, now I gotta fill the rest of the jars. Alright, so I just filled up 5.5 jars with the pickles, and this is the brine that's left over. Every single batch has that much of the brine left over. Now, I've been making this recipe for quite a while, and if you're gonna boil that down, maybe you can use it to make pickled eggs or something like that. But I wouldn't advise using the brine no more, because once you put your onions in, and then once you put your cucumbers in and bring it to a boil, you're drawing out a lot of liquid out of the vegetables. So you're diluting your brine. But hey, you can use it if you want to. I just if I was going to make a couple dozen pickled eggs, I would use it, but I would not use it to make more pickles. Alright, so now we're setting up for the hot water bath. So we just took our pot, filled it with water, brought it to a boil. Then we just place our pickles in there. Once it comes to a boil, we time it for 10 minutes, and then you'll start to hear the lids popping when it starts sealing. But the funny thing is when it was on the counter, every time we were making the batch, you could hear them pop, 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 you know. So I don't know if they're all popped already, but it's a good sound to hear, that's for sure. All right, so anyways, it was a busy night, lots of work, but between the wife and I, we got her done. All right, so the wife heard a noise and came in to investigate, and the jar let go. Right there. That jar right there. That's brand new. That's a brand new jar. And the whole bottom let go. Huh. Oh well. Start from scratch, pull the rest out. It's been 10 minutes. And now we got to clean the water. But just goes to show you, you guys got to be very, very careful whenever you're canning, whether it's a pressure canner or even just a hot water bath like this, you know. Things happen. Just be careful. All right. 54 500 milliliters of beautiful sweet pickles. Bread and butter. Yum yum. Same idea. All right. So it was basically 50 pounds of cucumber that's finely chopped using the mandolin. And what we did is we used 20 pounds of sweet red onions. I cut up 28 pounds because I was going to make some pickled red onions, but instead I'm going to dehydrate them because we're getting low on our dehydrated onions. But anyways, this is a task. It's you got to have an assembly line. You have to have a routine. If you never made pickles before, start off with a single batch. The wife and I did 10 batches, and we work well as a team. But if you're working alone, forget it. You're not gonna do 10 batches in one day. That's for sure. Because we work non-stop from 9 o'clock in the morning, and basically right now it's 11 o'clock at night before we're done. All right, and that's non-stop, and we only had 35 minutes where we sat down and relaxed over dinner. Lots of labor, you're standing up the entire time. Lots of cutting, lots of dicing, lots of preparation, and but you know what? It's worth it in the end, you know. Happy canning. The season starts now. It's only going to get busier and busier, especially once my tomatoes start ripening, and then we start stewing tomatoes. That is a job, but the outcome is well worth it also. So anyways, for now, this is what I've done with the cucumbers that I picked out of the garden. And so thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell icon. You'll be notified of upcoming videos. But anyways, this is well worth your labor. Right there. That's nothing but goodness. All I got left to do now is let it all cool and then mark the lids August 10th, 2022. So thanks for dropping by, guys. Take care. Have fun in the garden. Canning goes a long ways. Bye now.